Lord Heseltine warns a spiralling Tory party is fighting for its life after the disastrous D-Day fallout. We're going to read into this exclusive from The Independent, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with an exclusive from The Independent with the headline that Lord Heseltine warns spiralling Tory party is fighting for its life after a disastrous D-Day fallout. The exclusive reveals that the former Deputy Prime Minister's intervention comes as senior ministers are already engaging in phantom leadership contests to replace Sunak. Guys, while you're here, make sure you hit the like button and share this across social media so others are notified of this video. So, I said when this campaign started that while the poll was wide, I was expecting the polls to narrow. I expected the polls to narrow, and when this campaign started, and some of the blips and the blobs that they were having at the start of this campaign by the Conservative government, I was like, yeah, but they'll get it together. I still think they'll get it together. And it's now the 10th of June at the time of this recording. So we're less than a month away now from the general election. And I'm not feeling that right now. I'm not feeling as of right now a gap closing at the moment. And the reason why my position has changed since then is because they haven't changed, they haven't moved at all. They've kind of gone back to the board and looked at trying something different. But the campaign has been nothing short of disastrous after disaster. And it just feels like, I think, yeah, I'm starting to step back now and think about a lot of things that people have said and what politicians, journalists, YouTubers and whatnot have said. And I think just Sunak, I think Sunak just wants to quit now. He doesn't want to do any of this. I think he just wants to literally get on a plane and go to America. He doesn't want to do any of this, I think. I think he is so fed up of all this now. I think that's kind of where he stands right now. I think if he could quit, he would. But I think a part of him is trying to hold out to the end of this, to the less than a couple of weeks away. But I think a part of him generally just does not give a damn. Like he's like, I've done my bit. I've made my part in history. I don't want any of this anymore. Because the amount of gaffes that have happened as well, it's extraordinary. And the thing is, like, he does talk a lot about, like, he's fighting for every single seat and everything. Like, from the moment this campaign has gone, you know, standing there in the scorching rain, to going to the Titanic, the Mickey Mouse picture, asking people in Wales about how excited they are for the football when their team is not even in it, like ignoring the young man about the conscription policy, like not even like having proper engagement, laughing at a nurse when she's talking about the troubles that the NHS are in, like, and just like, my God, like, just the disconnect is insane. It's insane. And the thing is, you have to ask, like, what is this team behind him doing? What are this campaign team doing behind him? Like, are they just a bunch of yes men? Like, do they not apply any common sense to this campaign? Like, are they not realizing maybe we shouldn't take Rishi Sunak here and there? Like, and the thing that's what's even more disastrous, I bet he was really putting his foot down. I'm going to go out on a limb and speculate that Rishi Sunak really put his foot down on D-Day before and said, no, I'm not wasting my time at this international ceremony. I'll do the morning one, but I want to come back home. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that he literally did not want to stay. Like, he flat out said, I didn't want to be any part of this. I really think so. And I know I'm speculating, but I think he generally did not want nothing to do with it whatsoever, to show how disdained he really is. I think it's just no more of this BS. Like, I just want to get through this less than a month away now for the general election. I just want to, you know, I think a part of him doesn't even want to campaign. I think he just wants to go. He just doesn't want any of it anymore. But I feel like he's part the campaign team behind him, these parties team that are scheduling everything. Like, there's two things either happening with them that comes to my mind. Either A, they're a bunch of idiots and they have no idea what they're doing, or B, they know exactly what they're doing and that they either are spies working for the Labour Party, or they're working for reform, or they're all out with their knives in their backs ready just to get rid of Sunak so that they could try and take the leadership place for their own gains, for their own backers. Like, those are the only two conclusions, because there's no logic being applied into anything that the campaign has been doing so far. And I would have thought that maybe even if it didn't start well, that they would start playing some logic in, and that a bit of common sense would start coming in. But it still hasn't happened, which is why I don't think the polls, rather than narrow, may even widen. And there's very possibility that the MRP polls, that Reform could overtake the Conservatives. I mean, that would just be absolutely mind-blowing. Like, they really have been left abandoned, the Conservatives. So abandoned. It's insane. It's really insane. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm happy about the Conservatives being wiped out. But I just feel like that this is they're just going out in a whim rather than going out with a fight. They're not even fighting. Like, they're just going out on a whim at this point. That's how it feels like, yeah. Oops, sorry. That's how it feels like to me. Like, they're not even going out with a real fight. It's pathetic, really. So let's read into this. So Michael Heseltine has issued a rallying cry to the Conservative Party. I'm sorry, they can't answer you right now. I have to leave a message after the tone. Warning that it is fighting for its life and needs to focus on attacking the enemy. The intervention comes by the former Deputy Prime Minister, who was at the heart of the Conservatives' most unlikely victory in 1992, came as the polls are predicting a Canadian-style wipeout of the party. Tory MPs feared that the fate of the Canadian Conservatives in 1993, when they went into the election as the government and were left with just 2 seats, which could be their fate in 2024. But Lord Heseltine has urged the party to learn the lessons from the spirit of El Amin, a pivotal Second World War battle where the fortunes of Britain and her allies finally turned around and the apparent inevitable victory of Adolf Hitler was stopped in its tracks. His intervention has been made at a crucial point in the general election campaign after Rishi Sunak's appalling mistake in leaving the D-Day commemorations early. It also comes as, ready for this, senior ministers are already engaging in a phantom leadership. So, to replace Mr. Sunak before the election is lost. Now, I feel like I keep hearing this all the time of people talking about this. It's just like I'm sure there are other people are saying, no, there's no point. Stop talking about this. Please don't go down this road. Like, let's not have this discussion. Yeah, I think this is still crazy, but not impossible. A Cabinet Minister, Mel Stride, denied Mr. Sunak wanting to quit before the election. I can't do this anymore. A poll suggesting that the Tories could be left with 37 seats, according to a Delta poll survey. Oh, that would be brutal. I don't think it'll be that many, but we never know. Polling guru and Tory peer Law Hayward's analysis suggests that the Tories can stave off a wipeout. The former leader, Sir Ian Duncan Smith, is leading demands for politics, including ending inheritance tax for middle earners, which will shore up the Tory vote and diminish the threat from Nigel Farage. And 4 right-wing Tory MPs have signed up to another political party's pledges and accepted its donations. It's so stupid. What? It's so stupid. I believe this is Lauren Fox's group. I don't know I can't remember what his political party's name is, but yeah, it's Lawrence Fox's party group, and that's where those donations have come from. Lord Heseltine told The Independent that Mr. Sunak's apology for his D-Day gaffe should be accepted as a rare example of a politician admitting he had made a mistake. He said the election campaign has become a rewrite of one of the history's greatest military achievements. We shall never forget the sacrifice of so many young people from our country, the Commonwealth of America, and Europe. 40 years ago, as Defence Secretary, I stood alongside the Queen and the commemorations at the time with tears in my eyes. Rishi Sunak made a serious mistake. He had the courage to acknowledge it and apologise. Few politicians ever do that. Yeah, but there's a lot of things they should be sorry for. A lot. There was other military analytics which spun to mind for him when looking at the Tories' current predicament. Sorry, I'm getting a bit of reflux. Apologies. As I read the press and examined the polls, there is another historic memory that we should remember. Dunkirk. The French put their soldiers between the beaches and the Germans to enable us to evacuate our army with the purpose of to fight back. We shall never surrender echoed down the corridors of history. The political grandeur believes that the government is not getting enough credit for steering the UK through an unprecedented period of global disasters. That's not how life works. You don't. If the country is doing crap, yeah, people are going to point out the crap that is going on. Like 14 years, we are all worse off. So we're not feeling the benefits of it. So no, we're not thankful for what you've done for the last 14 years. This country has been through a world economic depression, a world epidemic, the Ukrainian war. We're not even in the Ukrainian war. And everyone has felt this feeling and consequences of events and has no causes in this country. That's because they didn't have Brexit. The Conservatives shouldering their responsibility and under the present Prime Minister and Chancellor have enabled us to see the first shoots of recovery, falling inflation and economic growth. And he believes this week was seen as an opportunity for a turning point. To follow the military's analysis is General Montgomery of El Armenian. One of the first turning points of the Second World War, of course, there were disputes between allies and even their military commanders, but there was no doubt one thing was clear, the need to win and the need to attack the enemy. You guys have been attacking the enemy, but you haven't been saying about yourselves. Yeah, you have. There's no question you've been attacking Labour, but you're not saying enough about what your plan is, what you're going to make sure gets done. The Conservative Party should learn from that lesson. It is fighting for its life. As is Free Target's, a Labour Party which throughout history, when entrusted with power, has run the economy to the ground. A bundle of minor parties can never form a government, and Nigel Farage with his nostalgic racist undertone, pandering to the worst-known instance across the water communities are being torn apart. In the US, we are faced by Donald Trump, the Republican candidate, not only racist, but threatening the very isolationist policies that kept America out of the Second World War until Hitler attacked them in 1942. A political party aimed with pop guns should be able to hit such targets. Meanwhile, with the concerns around Nigel Farage and the Reform UK apparently closing the polling gap with the Tories, senior figures want Mr Sunak to shore up the party vote. And in response, in an extraordinary move, 4 right-wing Tory MPs, Dame Andrea Jenkins, Brendan Clark-Smith, Marco Lutry and Carl McCartney, have signed up to Lauren Faust's Reclaim Party's 4 pledges to leave the European Convention of Human Rights, repeal the Human Rights Act, ban gender reassignment and reform the Equalities Act. They've all accepted £5,000 from the party. There is also a worry on Monday Reform UK will make a big announcement on inheritance tax for middle earners, which could harm Tory votes further. Former leader Sir Ian Duncan Smith told The Independent that he has a 4-point plan to turn things around. He says the first thing we need to show how Labour will tax everyone. The £2,000 per household is good. Keep punching that and others. Second, take middle income earners out of the inheritance tax. This is a lie. It's a factual lie. It's been proven on numerous occasions. So you can keep badgering that point all you want. But the fact is, it's a lie and everyone knows it's a lie. And we're going to keep hammering that home. Third, the Conservatives will not run a net zero ideological agenda and will not impose extra taxes, which Labour will. Fourth, make it cleaner that a vote for reform will let Labour in. Former Cabinet Minister David Jones agreed. He said, we should make a firm commitment to abolishing inheritance tax. That is a prime concern of traditional Conservative voters, largely people of moderate means. We should have abolished it years ago. It would be the moral thing to do, allowing people to pass on their families' assets and build up through savings and a tax income. It would also be sound politics, because Labour would never match that commitment simply because they believe in taxing the wealth. According to the latest Delta poll survey, Labour is set for a majority of 416, leaving the Tories at just 37 seats. Take that with a pinch of salt, by the way. Which puts Keir Starmer's party on 46% compared to the Conservatives' 21%, with even the Prime Minister set to lose his Yorkshire seat. However, analysis by polling guru Robert Hayward suggested that the party still has something to fight for and that consistent predictions of a wipeout will be out by a lot. He believes that the situation could be more similar to 1992 when Labour were predicted to win and the Tories' vote was underestimated. Although he thinks Labour will win this election at the time, he has briefed John Major that this was happening in the polls. Lord Hayward said if you look at the polls and then you look at the election and by-election results in councils in particular, they do not tally up. The polls are much worse for the Tories than they were in 2022 and in 2023, but local elections in May were much better. Candidates like Andy Street in the West Midlands and Susan Hall in London easily outdid the polls. He is questioning the calculation methodology of polling companies, which he believes is exaggerating the Labour vote, as well as minor parties such as Reform, the Lib Dems, and the Greens. I'm not buying any of this at all, if I'm honest. The Greens, Lib Dems, and Reform. That there's lots of people have been saying that. That's not just polling. That's actual people, word to mouth, and public on the ground. So that's just BS there. He also warned against using seat estimation website's electoral callus, which is the source of many dire predictions of a Tory wipeout. I gave up on using it several elections ago. It's one of the worst tools available. Rumours of Tory party collapse continue at the weekend, with the former senior minister Nadine Dorries claiming to have heard stories on Saturday that Sunak is about to fall on his sword. But Cabinet Ministers Mel Stride insisted that Mr Sunak would leave the Tories into polling day. Nevertheless, senior ministers are already appearing to giving up on the election and are preparing for a leadership election to replace Rishi Sunak afterwards, with rumours swirling that he wants to quit now. There have been claims that Defence Secretary Graham Sharps, the former Home Office Minister Robert Jenricks, and Security Minister Tom Tugendhat are putting teams together. Penny Morgan and Kimmy Backen have already got teams in place, although Miss Morden is currently in the fight for her political life to save her Portsmouth North seat. It's been claimed that Mr Sharp's sabre-rattling on China and Miss Baggenot's culture wars policies on trans issue are much to promote them as potential leaders as they are to help the party. Yeah, they're too busy thinking about... those lot are too busy thinking about their futures and potential possibilities of becoming leaders, rather than actually the very possibility that they could lose their own seats. So to say that so they shouldn't be so eager to just think about the next step, because they may get checkmate before they even get to they might even get checkmate before they even get to that point in this general election. So they shouldn't be thinking that. As for Rishi Sunak, I don't know. I'm torn on whether I think he will quit before the general election. I don't think there's going to be some kind of coup to oust him before the general election either. I don't think that's going to happen. But we've seen crazier things. I think I think there may even be more crazier things to come. I feel like something incredibly bonkers needs to happen. I feel like something bonkers is going to happen. I don't know what, but I just feel like something bonkers is going to happen. What do you guys honestly think? Do you think something bonkers is going to happen? What do you make of some of this here from this exclusive from The Independent? I feel like there is something coming, something even bigger that we don't even know that's going to happen in the Conservative Party. Perhaps maybe a really big self-destruct button that we don't know about. Well, what do you guys think? What do you guys make of Lord Heseltine's comments? What do you think about this, some kind of rally cry? Is there any possibility that it could happen? Do you think the polls could still gap? I'm very much doubting that the gap may close now. But maybe some of you are still holding out that maybe it is possible. But let me know what you guys honestly think in the comment section down below. If you found this video interesting, please hit the like button. We greatly appreciate it. Share it across social media so others are notified of this video. And subscribe, because it really does help support the channel. And if you want to go one step further, financially support me in the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p, or join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope to catch you all very, very soon.